Senators Aguilar. Aguilar, aye. Balmer. Balmer, aye. Baumgartner. Baumgartner, aye. Carroll. Carroll, aye. Cook. Cook, aye. Crowder. Crowder, aye. Donovan. Donovan, aye. Garcia. Garcia, aye. Grantham. Grantham, aye. Guzman. Guzman, aye. Heath. Heath, aye. Hill. Hill, aye. Hodge. Hodge, aye. Holbert. Holbert, aye. John. John, aye. Johnston. Johnston, aye. Jones. Jones, aye. Cafalas. Cafalas, aye. Kerr. Kerr, aye. Lambert. Lambert, aye. Lundberg. Lundberg, aye. Marble. Marble, aye. Martinez-Umenick. Martinez-Umenick, aye. Merrifield. Merrifield, aye. Neville. Neville, aye. Newell. Newell, aye. Roberts. Roberts, aye. Sheffel. Sheffel, aye. Scott. Scott, aye. Sonnenberg. Sonnenberg, aye. Stedman. Stedman, aye. Todd. Todd, aye. Ulibarri. Ulibarri, aye. Woods. Woods, aye. Mr. President. Mr. President, aye.
35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, and Joint Resolution 27 is adopted.
As the bells continue to ring, I say Pari Yagak. Welcome to you all. We will beat the storms this afternoon because, let's face it, Armenians have endured far worse storms for generations. My name is Derek Everett, and I'm an adjunct professor of history at Metropolitan State University of Denver and Colorado State University in Fort Collins. In addition, I serve as the historian of the Colorado State Capitol, in whose shadow we gather today to remember the 1.5 million people killed in the Armenian genocide, which began on this date in 1915, exactly a century ago. The mind boggles to think of the horrors inflicted upon men, women, and children targeted because of their religion and ethnicity. 3 out of 4 Armenians died between 1915 and 1922 as the disintegrating Ottoman Empire turned against its own citizens. Some 400,000 survivors provide the foundation for a modern Armenian community in Armenia and around the world, including here in the United States. The descendants of those refugees gathered here today testify to the resilience and the tenacity of the Armenian spirit. The Khachkar, the cultural monument we dedicate today, reflects Colorado's long association with the Armenian community. During the genocide, Coloradans followed the atrocities closely, with stories and editorials printed across the state. A newspaper in Telluride declared, quote, "Nothing in this whole war of frightfulness approaches even remotely the duly authenticated atrocities in Armenia." An editor in Fort Collins wrote, quote, "Civilization has a share in this latest horror in Armenia, for civilization could and should have wiped out the bloody perpetration long ago and did not." Coloradans expressed sympathy for Armenians and outrage for their treatment and found ways to aid the survivors. At an address in Ray, a speaker railed against the, quote, "slaughter and murder of more than 1 million defenseless and unarmed Armenians, not in war, but in cold-blooded butchery and martyrdom." During a food drive in Steamboat Springs, one resident averred, quote, "The people of Armenia must be helped by the people of this country." Golden's mayor encouraged, quote, "all who can to contribute as liberally as they feel able to these starving people, most of whom are exiled from their homes and all of whom are in danger of dying from lack of food." Colorado's solidarity with Armenia endures. Since 1982, this memorial garden has provided a place to remember the victims of the genocide. The forget-me-nots that we wear and that surround us on the ground remind us of the survival and resilience of Armenians. The General Assembly adopts an annual resolution commemorating the atrocities, as it did once again only hours ago, and we're joined by members of the General Assembly who adopted that resolution today. Today's ceremony, and the newest addition to the Capitol's collection of memorials, continues that proud tradition. At this time, I would like to invite priests from the Armenian Diocese and Prelacy to come forward and offer a prayer.
Can we sing the Lord's Prayer? We can sing it.
Let us sing the Lord's Prayer. Հայրմեր երկենք միասին։
Միասին օրհնյալ
Դեր մեր Հիսուս Քրիստոս, ամեն։ Հայրմեր, որեր գինսս, Սուրբ եղիցի արունքո, եկես արքայություն գո, եղիցին գամքո, որպես երգիրս և էրգի, սաց մեր անաբազոր, դուր մեզ այսօր, դո մեզ զբարդիս մեր, որպես և մեկտոում մերոց բարդավանոց, եմիդան իրս մեզի փորձություն, այլ պարգյայի չարը,
Միասին
Զիքոյ արքայություն և զորություն և
և
փառք
փառք Հավիտյանս Հավիտենից,
Amen. Please be seated. Հրամեզեք։
Thank you, Fathers. Please join me in welcoming Ernest House Jr., a member of the Ute Mountain Ute Nation and Executive Director of the Colorado Commission of Indian Affairs, who will offer a blessing on behalf of the indigenous people of Colorado.
Mike, Duguvan the Goyak. It's an honor to be with you all today in this commemoration. It's an honor also to have my elders support me from the American Indian community here in Colorado and indigenous tribal nations that once called Colorado home, and providing a blessing for not only today's event but this commemoration. We did a commemoration not too long ago for the 150th massacre of Sand Creek, and we had so much support from the Armenian community across Colorado, and so with that, it's our honor to be here in support for this as well. So please bear with me. We'll provide a short blessing. On behalf of the Ute people of Colorado, various Ute tribes, Wimanuch Band, thank you again for the opportunity to be here. Togoya.
Please join me in welcoming Anahid Kuchian, Chair of the Armenian Genocide Centennial Committee in Colorado and interviewer of many genocide survivors.
This one?
Whichever works for you.
Let me do this one. Height matters. Parev Sireliner, friends, Armenians for the day. When we began over a year ago planning for this commemoration, we have had a theme that was survive, revive, thrive. And that has been the spirit of our planning. And in the survive part, I've been asked to speak of a very specific story, that of my father, which, as I think about it, echoes, pieces of it echo in everybody's history, in the stories that you know about your family. My father, Azad Kachian, some of you may remember, was 6 years old in 1915 when his family at one point realized they must leave, they have to leave. They lived in Trabzon, which is on the Black Sea. So when they decided it's time to flee, they go to the seaport to be told that the last boat that accepted Armenians had left that morning. And so they literally missed the boat. What my father and his younger sister were taken, and this is a decision I cannot comprehend, but they were taken to a place that accepted orphan children, orphans. I do not know who it was, I don't, but they were left there. What a decision. And on the spot, my father learned that his father was killed that day on the spot. His mother, as was happening throughout Armenia at the time, his mother was put on the march, and she marched and marched and marched. In time, my father, who was 6, himself was taken with other children his age on the march. And he marched and he walked. The shoes went off, the food ran out. He says once in a while they'd throw bread in the air, and if you could catch it, you'd have something in your stomach. And he said, but even harder was the water. There was no water. They were going through mountains up and down, and even further, more suffering was getting up in the morning because you had worn shoes. You did not have soles, hard soles. You would wake up with swelling and pain. But here's the 6-year-old talking. He says, but if I looked around, I saw those who had not gotten up and their fate. He was waking up among corpses, and he got up. And he got up day after day after day. By the grace of God, in time, he did survive. Year 1, year 2, year 3. We don't know all the details, but he did make it. And when World War I ended, came the period of revive. And he was revived because of Near East relief. I would like to introduce somebody here who will stand with me. Prue Marshall is the granddaughter of the Kunstler family. The Kunstlers were Swiss missionaries who from 1896, having heard of the massacres of 1894-95, went to Urfa and established orphanages and aid, hospital, her grandparents, and had 6 children. The youngest one, still alive, is Prue Marshall's mother. they not only stayed through the genocide, the first one, they stayed there through 1922. And at that point they had to leave, but they fled with the orphans all the way to Beirut Ghazir. And the skills they were teaching the children included weaving rugs, and it is their rug that went to the White House, her grandfather. And so I would like to, Prue would like to read something of her grandfathers. These were Christian missionaries.
My grandfather kept a diary during the whole time of the genocide that was going on for all the time that he was there. And this is a quote that he wrote that's in his diary. In everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. These words, how they move my heart. How great is my eagerness to follow them. Whoever it may be, everyone wants to receive love from someone. And because of this, we should give love to everyone, whether friend or foe, whether Chinese, Negro, Indian, white. May they be Christians, heathens, Jews, or Muslims. Thank you.
Thank you, Prue. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of this whole community. Yeah. My father was also raised in an orphanage in Beirut by the Kerr family, who to me is as precious as the Kunstler family. They also stayed. They were in Marash. They fled with everybody from Marash, established like the Kunstlers in Beirut. And when my father arrived, he knew the languages the Kurds needed. All the way through medical school. And the Kurds to this generation are in the helping, healing service, as are the 4 generations following the Kunstlers, in all manner of healing and faith. So that is the Revive. This is what Revive looked like. By American help, by Near East Relief's tremendous presence in the Middle East through the years. And as for Thrive, what my symbol of Thrive is that after our very first meeting of our commemoration committee, the young people who had been there came up with a theme of survive, revive, thrive. They are our future, and this community will thrive. Thank you. By the grace of God, by the grace of God.
Thank you, Anahi. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sona Hadeshian, President of Armenians of Colorado Incorporated, the organization responsible for the capital's Armenian Memorial Garden.
Is this working? Do I have to hold this? Okay, wow, thank you. Well, distinguished guests and friends, welcome. Pari Yegerek. I'd like to start with a quote I heard somewhere. In the hearts of all Armenians, the past is always present. We will never forget the atrocities of the 1915 genocide, the suffering, the loss, the human sacrifice. There is no Armenian family who hasn't been touched with these tragic events. We were uprooted, displaced, and however, we were not destroyed. And despite the hardship in new land, we were able to preserve our faith, our language, and our heritage. In 1982, this is a Colorado history, in 1982, during the Holocaust week, this corner of the state capital was designated as the Armenian Genocide Memorial Garden. in memory of 1.5 million victims of the Armenian genocide. A plaque behind the tree and installed, and that tree was planted in 1982, attesting to that. I am very honored to have the members of the first board of Armenians of Colorado who have joined us over here for putting the seeds, and I think from the bottom of my heart, we thank you. Today, on the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, we gather here at the newly renovated Armenian garden, along with Armenian families new to Colorado, to unveil the Colorado State Capital Khachkar, a memorial that commemorates and honors victims of all crimes against humanity. We hope this monument will serve as a lasting reminder of the past so we can create a future without genocide. The Khachkar is a testament to our will to survive, and it symbolizes our collective spirit and collective strength. I would like to say to my fellow Armenians, this Khachkar is a legacy for our generation. We have to own it. Find the right opportunity to get involved, contribute to your community. Let's join to preserve our faith and language and our identity. Let's face the future and all the challenges it holds together as one community. We, the Colorado Armenians, will always remember the outpouring of support by Americans whose philanthropic work and efforts during and following the genocide serves thousands of Armenians, orphans through Near East relief. Colorado played a major role in this. We value the strong ties that bind us with the people of the state of Colorado. We regard with respect the elected officials and the appointed officials, past and present, who stand on the right side of history by recognizing the Armenian genocide. And finally, we appreciate those who helped make this garden and this Khachkar a reality. With one voice and as one community, we say, thank you, Colorado. We say, thank you, America, for giving us a second chance.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and my privilege to introduce the 42nd Governor of the State of Colorado, who will accept this Khachkar Memorial on behalf of all Coloradans. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable John Hickenlooper.
Thank you very much. Please sit down. Usually, when I see people stand up, I'm worried they're going to throw something. Just kidding. I want to thank Alexander and all the Armenians of Colorado for taking this on, for rebuilding the memorial and donating the Khachkar to the state of Colorado. This is not only the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, it's the 20th anniversary of the Bosnian genocide and the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. It's one of those years where we are frequently called to look back on some of the darkest chapters of human history. And yet, as we look around us today, we are seeing on television, on our computer sets, on our smartphones, the acts of violence and terror that even a few years ago I think would have been hard to imagine. And again, these are acts inspired by racism and xenophobia, that the hatred of somebody from outside. the world has witnessed too many genocides. And I think the world is guilty of permitting too many genocides. The world was tolerant of rounding up thousands of Armenians, right? This, what you can call, I don't know what you call it, the tragic permissiveness that allows those activities to occur leading up to such atrocities, to allow hundreds of thousands of innocent people to be slaughtered like animals. George Bernard Shaw said, "The worst sin toward our fellow creatures is not to hate them, but to be indifferent to them. But that's the essence of inhumanity." Right? That indifference, that unwillingness to recognize and act when these events transpire is the essence of inhumanity. Coloradans have had a long history of tolerance and standing up for what's right, even when it's uncomfortable and unpopular. Governor Ralph Carr, I'm sure many of you have heard his story, but he was elected governor in 1936, or 1938, I guess. And with the outbreak of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, Japanese Americans, citizens of this country, were being rounded up and taken to internment camps. And Ralph Carr, who at that time was looked at as a leading Republican leader and a likely candidate to be a leading candidate to run for vice president in 1944, he refused to allow it in Colorado and did everything he could to dismantle it and diminish it, despite threats to his life, his family, the clear threat to his political career, which was by his actions ended effectively. He was not only never considered to be a vice president, he was unable to win re-election. He never backed off. And I think he's a model. Our new Supreme Court Judicial Center is named after Ralph Carr. Colorado is one of the first states to grant women's rights, suffrage, the right to vote. Long has Colorado looked at being ahead of the curve on many of these human rights issues. Coloradans raised funds from a variety of sources to support what was then referred to as the starving Armenians. Governor Julian Gunter issued a proclamation in 1919 urging all Coloradans to donate. In 2013, the General Assembly and I authorized the installation of a replica Armenian Khachkar to be placed on the Capitol grounds in memory of the victims of the 1915 Armenian genocide and to represent the victims of all these other crimes against humanity, to make sure we had a place close to the state capitol where we would never forget. Today we get the opportunity, the privilege of honoring those who lost their lives both through the Armenian genocide and these other tragedies. And we remind ourselves what can happen if racism is allowed, is permitted, is sometimes even embraced as public policy. And what happens when otherwise good people remain silent. The Armenian genocide and other crimes against humanity are the culmination of simple, basic bigotry taken to its extreme. And if you leave that bigotry untended, you can be sure that some form of amplification, some form of extreme behavior will be the natural outgrowth of that permissiveness. These events lie on the same spectrum of everyday ignorance and simple-mindedness, of being too preoccupied with your own business. that spectrum of simple-mindedness that, or small, not simple-mindedness, that's the wrong word, I should say, that the spectrum of ignorance to small-mindedness, but that focus on your own day's events that allows the denigration of another human being, or allows the community to proclaim a person or a group as something less worthy of dignity or less worthy of respect. So this memorial reminds us that we have a responsibility to carry on the recognition of the history, but also to remember the lessons of this terrible atrocity, and to continue to teach the lessons of, or not the values of tolerance, of humanity, of compassion. I hope that those who come to the Capitol, and we'll make sure it's on the itinerary of every school group, that they get a chance to come and see this memorial to remember those who lost their lives. That they get to see and remember, and hopefully those kids will be inspired to renew the fight against bigotry in their own lives, whether it's speaking out on some act of bullying on the playground, or organizing their other students to act over some act of genocide in Africa or some part of Asia. Every day, most of us are out there trying to build places of peace and acceptance and respect for all people. We need to take a more active role in making sure that those places of peace are expanding and they're inclusive and welcoming to all folks. Let's always try to continue to lead by example. And again, thank you all for making this possible.
Thank you, Governor. At this time, I would like to invite the members of the Unveiling Party and the Khachkar Committee, whose names appear in your program, to come forward and join the Governor for the monument unveiling. This time, Governor Hickenlooper will present an American and Colorado flag to Alexander Derhovgimian, Executive Director of the Youth Foundation of Armenia. These flags were flown over the Colorado State Capitol earlier this week in honor of Mr. Derhovgimian, who donated the Khachkar Monument for the State House grounds.
Honorable Governor, dear friends, esteemed guests. It is a very important day for me. Take to part in the unveiling of replica Juga Khachkar that commemorate innocent victims of the Armenian genocide. My humble contribution to this memorial is to honor over 1.5 million Armenians who were killed regardless of age and gender, for the simple reason that they were Armenian. Today, millions of Armenians around the world and our friends with different backgrounds have come together in the name of human rights for all. From Pope Francis to state legislatures in the USA, the 1950-1923 crime by the Ottoman Turkish government against their own Armenian population has been condemned. This crime intended to destroy anything and everything that may have reminded them of Armenian existence. Our ancestors who miraculously survived became refugees, having lost everything they had. Their unpunished genocide enabling genocide against our peoples and cultures. We remember the victims of all genocides and crimes against humanity and cultures. This Khachkar is a replica of ancient Juga Khachkar that was destroyed by Azerbaijan government less 10 years ago. It is proof of our will to rebuild what was destroyed. This month the world is recognizing the Armenian genocide despite anger from Turkish government. Even Austria and Germany, which played a role in the Armenian genocide before committing the Holocaust, recognizing the Armenian genocide this week. 43 American states have recognized the Armenian genocide, including Colorado, and no other state capital has a Khachkar, for which Colorado we thank you. I would like to use these opportunities to say words of gratitude to the governor and lawmakers of Colorado. A state was among the first to recognize Armenian genocide and stand in solidarity with us today. Thank you, Mr. Heckenlooper, for standing on the right side of history. And thank you to everyone who made today's commemoration possible. Սիրելի հայրենակիցներ, երախտիկիս խոսքերն եմ ուզում հղել ձեզ պարտադիր հայերեն մեր մայրենի լեզվով։ Լեզու, որը պահպանել է մեզ դարերի վեր, լեզու, որը անբաժանելի մասն է մեր հավատքի, մեր մշակույթի, մեր պատմության եւ մեր գիտակցության։ Ցավոք այսօր մենք հեռու ենք մեր հայրենիքից պատմական, բայց ես համոզված եմ, որ բոլորի սրտերը բաբախում են այսօր Երևանում հայկական Հայաստանի հայերի մեծ եղեռնի հուշահամալիրում մեկ ազգի մեկ մարդու պես։ Ես հպարտ եմ եւ ուրախ եմ, որ այսօր մենք այստեղ կանգնած ենք մեկ մարդու պես, մեկ ազգի պես։ As a descent of nation of genocide survivors, we Armenians have responsibility to face the past, live in present, but most important, build our future. As says Khorenatsi, a nation that does know its past, its history, has no future. We remember, we demand. Thank you.
Please join me in welcoming Simon Magakian, Chair of the Khachkar Monument Committee.
Mr. Governor, Mr. Speaker, honorable justices, members of the General Assembly, esteemed guests, friends, and family. We're here today to remember loss, attest to truth, and renew hope. 3 years and 3 months ago, I met Alexander Terhovakimian here in the Armenian Garden when the State Department sponsored them to come to Colorado to learn our democratic process. 33 years before that, 33 years ago today, the Armenian garden was installed. 100 years ago today, the Armenian intelligentsia, the community leaders in Constantinople, now Istanbul, were rounded up and executed, something that started the Armenian genocide. The Khachkar that brings us here today and the memory attests to our spirit to rebuild what has been destroyed. It's a replica of a sacred monument that an army destroyed 10 years ago for the simple reason of it being Armenian. We have gathered from all parts of Colorado, roots all over the world, but the original roots for all of us are in Armenia, deep below Mount Ararat. And there is no empire, no biblical flood, and no genocide that will stop us from creating and rebuilding. And to end, in the words of the great William Saroyan, I should like to see any power in the world that can destroy this race, this small tribe of unimportant people whose wars have all been fought but lost, whose structures are crumbled, literature is unread, music is unheard, and prayers are answered no more. Go ahead, destroy Armenia, send them to the desert without bread or water, burn their homes and churches, then see if they will not love, sing, and pray again. For when two of them meet anywhere in the world, see if they will not create a new Armenia. Thank you.
Այսօր շատ կարևոր, պատասխանատու եւ հուզումնալից օր է։ Այսօր 100-րդ տարելիցի կապակցությամբ Կոլորադոյի սենատի բակում բացվեց հայոց ցեղասպանության պուրակը եւ այդ պուրակում տեղի ունեցավ մեծ Եղեռնի զոհերի հիշատակին նվիրված Ջուղայի Խաչքարի ճիշտ կրկնօրինակը այդ միջոցառմանը մասնակցում էին Կոլորադոյի նահանգապետը, սենատորներ, հայ համայնքը, բավականին ներկայացուցչական միջոցառում էր եւ շատ կարեւոր էր բոլորիս համար, որովհետեւ եւս մեկ անգամ մենք հնարավորություն ունեցանք բարձրաձայնենք ասենք, որ մենք հիշում ենք եւ պահանջելու ենք ճանաչում։ Շնորհակալություն։
Անունս Անահիտ Քաչյան է։ Այսօր դոնեցինք 100-ամյակը, օրեր որ մեր քերթաստանները հիշած են վիշտով, բայց այսօր երբ որ ծրագիր գնեինք որ հայերենով ինչպես ասեմ, գներեք որ անգլերեն ասեմ, մերիննու to survive, այսինքն թիմանալ, revive, վերանորոգվիլ եւ վերջնալ thrive, ասել է որ կյանքի գուքաս եւ գարդատրես եւ նվերդ ուրիշներու կփաժնվիս, այսինքն գաբրիսկոր, անանք որ ասխաչքարը միացուց մեզի այսօր, առանց կասկածի, ոչ մինակ հայերը, բայց շատ ամերիկացիներն ալ եկան եւ մասնակցեցան, սոփացարիկ օրմներ, որ ասնվերը եկավ Խաչքարը Հայաստանեն եւ վարբետ դաշողին 1000 շնորհակալություն, որտեղ քեղեցկություն իմաստով քեղեցկությունը մեզի նվիրեց։